1 metre 85 tall. Reigning Wimbledon, US and French and Australian Open champion. 4 Grand Slams in his career, a total of 24 career titles, 4 of which have been this year. He lost just 2 matches this year. He lost to Karim Alami in Doha and Jaco Elting in Philadelphia. Andre Agassi, ranked 19th, seeded 5 in Osaka, age 23, 4 weeks off his 24th birthday from Las Vegas. 5'11" or 1 metre 80.
Sampras to serve.
Sampras to start this second semi-final. Standard practice. Bit of applause before they start. This is a repeat of the final at the Lipton Championships 2 weeks ago, which Sampras won pretty convincingly.
15 love.
I say pretty convincingly. It was 3 sets, but 5-7, 6-3, 6-3. So Agassi took the first. Agassi's in good form. 6 weeks since his comeback after surgery in December on his right wrist.
30 love.
Very fit Agassi at the moment, lost 18 pounds, that's about 8 kilograms in training when he was allowed to train again after his operation. Very fit, feeling good, and in pretty good form. And if you're talking about a player in form, you can't find much better form than Pete Sampras. Sampras' first ace, and talking of aces, he became the first man ever to hit 1,000 aces in a season when he hit 1,011 last year. I say a season, I mean a calendar year, really. A little bit of extra power on the forehand, deceiving Agassi. Slightly late on the shot. Uncharacteristic errors from Sampras. Maybe it's because it's the first game of the match. These two have played 9 times against each other, but the last 2 are the most significant ones. The final at Key Biscayne, which I mentioned a minute or 2 ago.
Advantage Sampras.
And the quarter-final at last year's Wimbledon, which signalled a bit of a changing of the guard. Agassi the champion in '92, Sampras on his way to being the champion in '93. 4th point to take the opening game.
Game Sampras.
And this time the Agassi era allows him to do so. Sampras in the first round beat Stefan Simeon 7-5, 6-3. In the second round he beat Jeff Tarango 7-6, 7-6. And in the third, Guillaume Raoult 6-3, 6-3. Agassi beat Doug Flack 6-1, 7-5. Chuck Adams 6-3, 6-3. And David Wheaton 7-6, 6-7, 6-3. Agassi has a very good chance to rise up the world rankings, as after this coming week he has no points to defend until Wimbledon. He was a semi-finalist in Barcelona last year. No, quarter-finalist in Barcelona. Quarter-final he pulled out of to start 2 months layoff for the wrist injury, which eventually caused him to have surgery on the 20th of December. He's played 16 matches this year. He's won 14 of them. Defended his title at Scottsdale and a finalist at Key Biscayne, serving love 1. Really is looking very sharp. Was given good by the line judge down the sideline, but given long and confirmed by the umpire. Still a point for 1-all.
Game Agassi.
Well, that will allow Agassi to be a little more relaxed about what he thought was a bad call.
1 game all.
That shirt breaks new ground in terms of tennis design, because it hasn't got a collar. Now, in the deep recesses of the rules, there is a rule that says a player has to have a collared shirt for a tournament match, and that one hasn't. And yet, when it was paraded at the Australian Open this year, the authorities decided that it did have the equivalent of a collar, therefore it was not like a T-shirt, and therefore it was allowed.
30 love.
Sampras wearing a traditional design of tennis shirt with the collar on a couple of buttons. That pickup for most players is a defensive shot. Sampras gets so much power behind it. It's the latent or hidden strength that this man has. Despite the fluency, he also has a tremendous amount of power. 40 love.
40-15.
Yeah, it was a good serve. Well, that's out.
Game Sam.
So going very much with serve. The first three games, Sampras leading 2-1. Agassi, 1-2 first set.
Love 15. Love 30.
Can't afford too many of those when you're playing Pete Sampras. Three loose ground strokes, and Pete Sampras has 2 points to take the first break. Wonderfully nonchalant volley. It's a good backhand for Sampras. Look at that position. Still break point.
Game 7.
Another error. Unforced.
Leading 3 games to 1.
Unforced ground stroke error, and Sampras takes the break. 3-1 first set.
15 love.
The aces tend to get recorded by umpires. Most of them have an electronic pad these days. They can record aces double faults.
40 love.
So that after every tournament, the statistics can go into the IBM computers. The ATP Tour's headquarters around the world has 3 main centres. One in Australia, one in Monte Carlo, and the main headquarters at Ponte Vedra Beach in Florida.
Game 10. Sampras leads 4 games to 1.
"24 career titles, of which 4 are Grand Slams. The first one when he just turned 19 at the US Open in 1990, then had a spell of nearly 3 years before he won his second one, which was Wimbledon last year. And during that time, Pete Sampras was getting under a bit more pressure. People were starting to wonder whether he had the temperament for the big tournament, but from Wimbledon last year onwards, he really has conquered everything. Mind you, the next Grand Slam, which will give him theoretically the Grand Slam, though it won't be a pure Grand Slam because it won't be in a calendar year, is the one that he has most difficulty with. That's the French. Beaten last year's French Open in the quarterfinals by the eventual champion, Sergi Bruguera.
Time.
Has won a clay court tournament, Kitzbühel. That was in the run-up to the 1992 Olympics in Barcelona. But not someone who's yet honed his game that well to clay. It's a game that is well suited to clay, but he doesn't yet feel totally at home there. So it won't be too great a surprise if he doesn't complete the Grand Slam this year, though I'm sure he'll win Roland Garros 1 year. Agassi, 1-4, first set.
Love 15. All.
Sampras missed with that one, but it gives you the idea just how good his timing is, and how if you're playing against someone who hits the ball quite hard, then you can do so much with timing. Just tapped that ball, and you'd have beaten Agassi had it landed in. Had there been a mark, as there is on a clay court, I suspect we'd have had the umpire down out of his chair. As it is, the verdict goes to Agassi.
Game Agassi. Sampras leads 4-2.
Well, they're racing through their games. 21 minutes for 6 games. Average tends to be around 4 to 5 minutes per game. Sampras 4-2.
Fifth.
That's 4 aces so far for Pete Sampras. Beautiful service action, and part of the beauty of it is that he can disguise the direction so well.
Steady line. Love. Game 10. New ball split. Sampras lead 5-2.
Since that first game where he lost 4 points, 5 points, went to 4 deuces, Sampras has lost just 2 points on his serve. Very impressive serving. He's in fact so far out ahead at the moment in the world rankings as #1 that he's unlikely to be caught for the rest of this year, even though he has an awful lot of points to defend. Quarter-final at the French Open and Wimbledon and US Open titles. He has 4,949 points, and #2 in the world, Michael Stich, has 3,094. So it's well over half again. That is a remarkable lead. In the 21-year-old history of the world rankings, no one has ever been that far ahead. The gap between Stich and the #3, Stefan Edberg, is minuscule. It's just 24 points. Agassi 2-5. Agassi's ranking is quite important. He was 32 in the world when he came back at Scottsdale, now up to 19.
40 love.
And that means that he, certainly if he continues to go up, as I'm sure he will, because he has so few points to defend, well, none after this next week, means that he's almost certain to be seeded for the French Open, where they go strictly by the rankings. I suspect also he'll be seeded at Wimbledon, where the seeding committee reserves the right to go against the rankings, and frequently does. As a former champion, I'm sure he will be seeded there.
Game Agassi. Sampras leads 5 games to 3.
Well, keeping his chances alive. Just the one service break so far. Came in the 4th game. It's Brad Gilbert, number 7 seed at this tournament. Went out to Henrik Holm. There's an example of how difficult the Sampras serve is to read. Agassi's got such a good return of serve, was going down the middle there, but Sampras disguised it and put it wide.
40 love.
And this really impressive serving has taken Pete Sampras to 3 set points. Still set point.
Game, first set.
Yes, it was good. And in just 28 minutes, Pete Sampras takes the first set by 6 games to 3.